Oh yeah, that's true. I am. I'm a little high. I'm a little high.
I got you, baby boy.
Thank you.
Hear ye, make way for the Kings. The Kings are here.
You think the bitches are great because you're fucking seasonal, nigga? You can't be seasonal. Niggas got this shit 24 hours a day.
Kingz. You're listening to the Kingz Podcast with your hosts, Karizmatik and Irish O'Neil.
Welcome to another installment of the Kingz Podcast. I am your main man, Karizmatik.
What's up? I'm your other host, Irish O'Neil, joined by two guests tonight. One returning, one new. We've got the lovely Ani Moush and first-time guest, Kit Rion. Welcome to the podcast.
Mushy.
What's
Yo,
up, guys?
What's up?
we are up for a nice, interesting podcast tonight. I'm gonna put on my sexy voice because this is the time.
Should I touch the microphone with my lips too? You always be like making love to your microphone.
You
Y'all
got
both
to.
do
That's
that.
how you get the
Well,
proper
these
sound.
these
you know?
ones are more sensitive, so you got to get like right up in
They're
it.
sensitive.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah,
just
you gotta-
sucking some
gotta
dick
get on.
right now,
Just a
and
little
y'all's
bit.
is
I
big
ain't
and
ashamed
black.
to say
Mine
it.
is somehow
ashamed to say
shiny.
it.
I'm not gonna ruin my lip gloss, so I'm not gonna do that.
I got that
You're close
lipstick that
enough.
doesn't come off, yo. It doesn't come off.
There you go. Then kiss that shit. Kiss that shit.
So, guys, this is the Kingz Podcast. We basically go over relationships here, the dichotomy of men and women in a relationship. We're going to break down the three principles. We'll do plugs, and then we'll get into the discussion. First and foremost, guys, the three principles. These are the three principles that you need to get these ladies, okay? First and foremost, confidence. Confidence is the main thing that you need when you're going into these ladies. You got to believe in what you're selling, right? Because if you don't believe in what you're selling, why the fuck should they?
Is this
Okay?
rhetorical, or do you want responses? Is this like
You
you
can
lay
respond.
out-
Oh, you can
That's fine.
respond to
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Do
sure.
you, okay, so I was thinking about this. You heard that you said this. Confidence is not the most important. I'll tell you the three qualities that I think that are the most important.
Let's go one for one, and then we can
Right,
match them up.
okay. Humility. Humility is more important than confidence
Yeah.
because it shows character.
That kind of goes with the second principle
What?
of the podcast, though, I think.
Honesty.
What, honesty?
No, that's closer to integrity. Y'all, integrity is trying to do the right thing.
I would say your humility plays into our third one, which is
Yep.
social intelligence.
That's correct.
Nah.
Yes, because if you have social intelligence, then humility would be a part of that,
That's
or would be one of those.
Humility is with like morality. Humility is not a quality of how you present yourself to the rest of everyone else. When you humble, you're thinking about yourself in terms of being humble, as in you don't think you're better than anybody else and shit like that. That's what humility is.
I don't need to be humble to
being
get a chick,
respectful.
though.
Well, I think that women who are smart and who care about themselves wouldn't be with you.
See, but you think that, but I date women that are lawyers, doctors, chicks that have degrees. I date chicks that make six figures. Like, this is all, because all
That's
women are
all
the same.
material stuff. That means nothing.
I mean, smart is a very you threw out a
You've met
very
some of my
vague
exes.
word. No, I've definitely met some of your words.
Smart bitches.
I mean,
I
smart-
mean, especially
what
your
is-
most
okay,
recent
wait,
ex that
wait,
I've met.
Wait. What about?
Hold on. We gonna let me finish real quick.
Sorry.
So, especially your most recent ex, who was very brilliant at that point. I mean, you threw out something that is very hard to quantify first and foremost, and then you ask someone else to quantify it. That is inherently wrong in state of an argument, because you said smart, and then you asked him to quantify how they're smart by saying
Right.
that those are materialistic
yeah.
things. He tried to quantify it to a way that he saw that society usually
Yeah,
equates
like
these
social
things,
capital.
and you shot that down. So that means that you're working now off of your own imagery of what smart is.
Okay,
And if
yeah,
you're doing
and I
that, then
didn't
you're doing it singularly to yourself, of
And
which it's not the
And
greater
I take it back.
masses.
That was not what I meant, and you're right to say that. There's incredibly intelligent women, like probably, I don't know, every woman I've ever met that's cool. They don't pick the right men because
But
we
see,
get with like losers.
But this is the thing too, though. Like,
Tell me if I'm wrong,
This
but-
this is the difference between men and women too, right? It's like, guys, we don't tear each other down like that. Like, do you see how quick you were to just write off any chick I've dated? It's like, oh well, they must not be quality women.
No, I didn't mean that.
No,
And
no,
I'm
and that-
trying
but-
to
and that-
clarify that because also what I was saying, they care about themselves. Some people hate themselves.
No, but that's
You
the point
try
he's
to
trying
be-
to make. He thinks that people should be a little bit more conscious of what they're saying, because I mean, if you didn't have the chance to, bring that statement back or to clarify that statement, that would be left in the ether let's say.
On a podcast.
Well,
No, I mean, it left in the ether in a way that it's not meant to be understood.
but
You
see,
know what I'm saying?
You did the perfect thing too, right? Because you said that, and what you said initially was an emotional reaction, and then you thought about it for a minute, and then you were like, oh wait, that's not exactly right, and then you corrected yourself. But that's the thing, is like
Because you're seeing it the way everyone sees it.
I mean, that's the only thing we can go off. If we go off our own personal perspective, that's very narrow.
It could be beyond, though. I'm thinking that I understand how people see, like, if you have a good job, or if you're, you got a grad degree, you went to law school, no, I'm not talking about that. And I meant the different words than I said. Okay.
That's fair.
So cool. If you're gonna, what do you think?
So before we get into all that, like, just to go back to like the point of this podcast is like there's a specific group that we are talking to a lot of the time, and a lot of the time it's men, right? And when we're talking to men, we're talking about these 3 principles in specifically. So like, let's just like recap those, and then we can dive into each one of them, and then I can comment on that, because I don't want to get confused in the intro.
Fair. So, I'll recap it quick. Like confidence, you need confidence with these ladies. You got to believe in yourself. All this, you got to not be afraid of what's going to happen. Honesty at all costs, guys. I preach that. You be honest. Say what you feel. Don't fucking edit yourself. If you feel a certain way, if this is how you are, be upfront about it. Don't bullshit people.
I would also say be upfront. I mean, you don't have to be blunt. You ain't got to hit him with a bat, but like, be honest as hell.
I'm blunt about it. I just don't edit myself.
Yeah, don't lie.
Like I'm talking, even if you're the kind of person where you go like, I'm gonna want to fuck multiple people, and you know that about yourself, and you're getting with a chick who tells you up front she's monogamous, well, you got to let her know how it is, and she might walk away, and you have to be fine with that.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. Honesty at all costs. Because it's like, it's going to be way worse if you just like, oh, yeah, I'm monogamous, wink, wink, and then you wait about a year, and then you go like, oh, actually, I want to get some side pussy. Or you don't do that, in which case you will inevitably cheat.
Write down your point you just made, because I want to let you finish, but her nose went up, poked up to that one, so I definitely want to make sure we address it again.
Versus
Which point? I just close my eyes and just channel Patrice O'Neil.
So the point that you made about if you know that you can't sleep with one person, or you can't be monogamous, and she is monogamous, that letting her know up front, that one is specifically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Am I on with that one?
Yeah. And then the last one, social intelligence. You got to be bringing something to the table. Be funny, be interesting, whatever it is.
Be humble.
Be able to read the situation. All that good shit. Boom. The 3 principles in a nutshell.
All right, let's dive back into this.
Yes.
All right, so I saw you stick your nose up to the one about him saying that if you feel that you can't be monogamous, you should be upfront with that.
No, you know why I said that? Because I think that is a wildly hypothetical situation.
No, you're not wrong.
And
It's very
it's
fringe.
just kind of right. So the fact that we jump straight to that is weird to me.
Well, you want to go
So,
for when you're trying to make it a point. Most people will be hyperbolic, and that's what he was trying to be a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well,
so that definitely hyperbolic. You're gonna hit the fringe, and that's the whole point. To be like to hit that extreme. It's like, yo, this is
did I do that?
Well, it's also just because it's
hitting
like
the
The
extreme.
leftist kind of shit.
Okay, I've been on this podcast now 3 times. Every single time
you hit the turkey.
He's
just going for the turkey.
Honestly.
every single time we talk about this topic, versus like when there's somebody who is, maybe interested in not being monogamous, and then maybe there's someone who they're interested, but that person is traditionally a monogamous
polyamory?
person.
Who gives a shit? My best friend's polyamorous.
Yeah, but the conflict that happens a lot of the time when those 2 people meet, or maybe want to, be in a relationship, or one or the other, very often we've found is that a lot of people are not upfront with that. And what we're saying is that be upfront with that. If you are someone who's
less harsh example. So one party wants to have babies, the other one doesn't want to have babies.
Or it's like anti-cheating. It's like this is
this is the thing, right? Like if you're
tell each other, it's being full.
Yeah, if you're honest, like I'm talking
Hell
about,
yeah,
you
I'm
don't ever
totally
have a
on board with
reason
that.
to cheat, because you let if you're the kind of person that's gonna want to fuck other people,
That's what
you let them
integrity
know.
Is. That's when you honesty isn't always saying everything that pops into your head that's true either. And we all have to learn that. I think just because you say, you know what, I don't even want to hang out with you unless you want to fuck me. Oh, really? Let's talk about that hypothetical situation. You know what I mean?
It's not exactly
Oh,
hypothetical.
I
no,
mean-
yeah, it's not exactly hypothetical either.
Right. What's
And-
wrong with
and
that, though?
I think that that's not a good way to go immediately when I say, hey, Dom told me you're good people, and maybe we could talk about doing comedy or music together.
Oh, we're
See.
diving head first into this, huh? All right.
And
Let's
away we go!
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay.
Sorry, I'm white trash. My bad.
No,
No. I mean, I
Atlanta.
think you might have met
With-
a match here.
So this is the thing, right?
I feel like the Joker.
now,
like,
and we can do this. We can go back through the conversation, dissect it, and purely from an analytical sense, right? And it's first like that came later in the conversation. It was what opened. It was you reaching out to me, like around like 8 o'clock on a Friday night. It was like, hey, Irish, what are you doing tonight? Now, keep in mind, this is the first interaction we've ever had. Okay, you and I have never spoken before. We've never interacted. I have you reaching out to me. We're talking a little bit, all this and that. And this is the thing, right? This is the intimacy of my home. So, like, if you're coming into this room, it's for 3 reasons. It's either podcasting. It's 4 reasons. Podcasting, working on music. It's you're a friend that I know very intimately and we're hanging out. Or we're fucking.
What about the first two? The first two. Those are the why I'm here. To do music and
Right.
comedy. Fuck
Right.
pod and
Now-
podcasting.
Well,
All
first-
I'm not your
first-
close friend's friend, and I'm not.
Exactly.
No,
but
that's fair. But let's walk it back a little bit. The time that he stated is not a time where we podcast at all. So that couldn't have been a topic. The second one only recently became a topic. Well, no, it's always been a topic, but
Well,
it
you
wasn't
said-
something that you were constantly doing. It wasn't like it's becoming more and more of a thing.
And even more frankly put, this is the thing, right? Like, and this is just pure honesty, right? Like, I am 26, turning 27-year-old, very young man. I want to be spending my time fucking. Okay,
you
if
good?
I'm not doing
You okay?
if I'm not doing comedy, if I'm not doing music, which are things that are already programmed into my schedule, like I'm either working, doing comedy, I'm doing music, and it's not like new projects. Like I already have a fucking backlog of projects, so it's like I'm not the only instance I'm looking to let a stranger, which at this point you are in the conversation. The only instance I'm allowing a strange girl to come in this room is what other strange girls do when they come in this room, which is to fuck. So and this is the thing. I could have bullshitted you, right? I could have done some weird uncomfortable shit, right? Where I go,
Being honest.
right? Well,
No,
well,
fair.
Obviously, we're all being honest.
Yeah.
No, but this is the thing, right? Like, because a lot of creepy dudes and dishonest guys will do this shit, right? They'll go, hey, Kit, come over. Let's work on some music or comedy. Then they get you over here.
Let me
Then
make-
they start being weird
let
and
me
putting the
make-
You
moves
gave me
Let me
in.
make one point.
rejection
Let me-
on the grounds.
let me
That's
give- let
different.
me-
Rejection on the grounds, really?
No, he
Right.
gave you a place. He did give you a place of acceptance. He said that if we're gonna meet, if we want to meet, then we can meet in public at one of the open mics.
Like you want to, like you want to have the first interaction here in the intimacy of my home. You know what I mean? It's like that's.
I mean,
and I was
He
I
gave
don't
up-
know
he-
where
and
I'm
I
said
from.
gave up
Listen,
public-
And I was
friends are
upfront with you
different
that I
where I'm
wasn't
from,
No,
yo.
no, that's fair. That's fair. What I've
Like,
understood.
Jesus Christ, we
no,
just
no, no,
chill and
slow.
smoke weed where I come-
That's
Fuck.
fair. That's absolutely fair. What I'm
also
coming from is
curious
that
about you're everyone else.
and Kit,
That's
by the
fair,
way, I
but
want to
Kit-
clarify. I'm not attacking or anything.
I'm
right
a
here.
fucking dude, guys.
But here's the thing,
So
right? Like,
as much
let me
as
ask you a
anyone else, so I
question
just
to
want to
that.
fucking work together.
I
I'm
mean,
fucking
first
funny
off,
like everyone else is.
what does that mean? What does that mean to you? First off,
I don't want to explain what it is to be a man unless you took your dick away and told me who you were as a man.
I don't understand what that
You
means.
had no dick and no balls, and you
I'm
had
not
to explain
defined-
how
I'm
you're
not
a man.
defined by my
How are
dick.
you a man? Okay, then what makes you a man?
First off, I'm
The same thing
I
that
built
makes
a
you a
resilience.
woman.
I built a resilience emotionally to provocation.
Yes.
Secondly, I try to see the world through the eyes of others because to see
Yes.
only from purely a man's perspective would be very, very
So
asinine.
what's
and
a,
it's
what's
not
a
a man.
man's perspective? What is a man's
I thought I was
perspective?
giving that to you right now, or what I saw. You
You
asked me
said
that,
you're
and I was
saying
just
not.
explaining
I'm
it to you.
sorry. You said you're not being this thing is to be this thing.
Can
I wanna fucking eat. That's the
interject
male
For like
perspective.
1 second.
Yes, please
'Cause
do.
I've just been observing now.
Yeah.
So I have 2 questions because I'm confused too because I don't know what that means when you're
Okay.
asking like
Because that means that you should take, fine, I have this body. So when I talk to people, they assume that I want to fuck them or not. And it's like, Jesus
Have
Christ.
I
I'm
ever-
sorry,
No,
you
that's-
guys,
that's
like,
not what I mean.
Have I
That's not what
ever
I mean.
assumed that
That's
from?
what I
uh,
mean.
No, no,
not
no.
you.
No, that's not what I
Okay.
mean. When you're
You're
describing
different, charismatic.
when you're describing like, oh, I'm a dude. Is that what you mean? Like you're identifying as that, or
Yes.
okay,
As in, listen, and this is it. you better look at me like I have a dick and balls as far as whether or not I'm attracted to you. Like, okay, like
That doesn't
I
make
don't.
any
I don't
sense
look
at all.
at people with dick and balls like they have dick and balls. That's not what makes a man to me, as I was trying to
Okay.
explain.
but the point is when you say what makes you a man, and if you say
Yeah,
that
'cause
your
I need to
dick is what
understand
makes
that.
Let me
if you
explain
can
it.
physically
Because
overpower
you-
I'm not
someone,
done. I'm
Because
not
you
done.
haven't had
Okay,
to
I'm
you haven't had
sorry.
to experience life
Have I
as a
ever told
man.
you I see him as a man? Have I ever
let
told you I
me-
see her
let
as
me
a
finish
man?
this. That I was just gonna say that. Like, I identify as a woman because for 28 years I've gone through life in the eyes of a female.
Yeah.
So that's how I would describe that.
And then I both exactly.
So is that how you would describe?
I just found like you and like you. I identify like both of you.
So you feel like
But you
you've
haven't
gone
had to
through-
experience life as a man, so you can't. You can
Are you
say
sure about that?
yes because you're a woman.
Is
In the
is
same
that
in the same
untrue?
way that
No, because-
Let her
in the same
answer
way
the
that women
question.
get objectified and all of the shit that men do to them. Yeah, we don't know what that's like because I'm not a woman.
gonna ask-
so
I get what
you're
I
saying,
can't
but
cut
let
my
her
dick
an-
off and
let
say
her
I'm a
answer the
woman
question.
because I don't know what that experience is like.
Well, bitch, you told me like 16 times by now that you don't know what it is. So like,
So do you feel like you've gone through
Let's
life
reserve
being
the swears,
equally
please.
objectified as a
Sorry.
man and a
That's
woman?
okay. I just
Oh,
don't want people to
no.
feel attacked.
No, I
just
like this. We're bringing the real kid out. I like it. They were being honest. I like this shit.
I am always the real kid.
That's-
all
Okay,
the
okay,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying.
I
I'm not-
asked the question.
I'm saying be you.
I'm talking now.
She is
All
talking
right.
right now. She is
All
talking
right.
right now. She's here for a reason, and let her be here, though.
So do you feel like you've gone through? Because I'm not trying.
No, you're
not trying to
you
be a
come
dick.
in peace, bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
So
sorry.
do you feel like you got me there? It's fine.
Everybody's bitch, sorry.
Do you feel
No, you're
like
good.
because
I think we
just
know
wanna,
you don't mean it
I
now.
want to like
Clear
I'm
the
not-
air a little bit.
Yes.
I just want to understand so like we can have a constructive conversation moving forward.
You see
you-
why we brought her? I wanted to be fair as possible. You see why, like,
Well, that-
you
'cause
see how
that's-
much of a calming force
That's the
it
thing.
is?
We're,
Like, right
no,
here,
no
like,
one's
like-
no one's
Yeah,
attacking
thank you,
anyone
you know
here.
what I'm
Like
saying?
we're everyone,
we definitely don't want
we're-
anything to feel like attack, and
Like-
she's doing a very good job of like, yo, all right, it's starting to get a little too tense. Let's
like if
woo
we-
saw a
No,
little
she
bit.
has a question.
Okay,
to learn
and
about
I would
something.
like to get the answer to my
That's fair.
question.
That's fair.
Go
that's
get to it, Ani.
fair.
Smoke, please.
She's right. She's right. Smoke that.
Go ahead.
In like 30 years, you're gonna be Oprah.
Yo,
can
we
only
hope. We hope. I mean, that'd be
The
awesome.
Armenian
You're like
Oprah.
Jerry
Somebody
Meeks.
called me that. Was it you?
No, I don't think that was.
A comic did call me that. I forget who it was, and I will.
I wouldn't want to
remember.
say that to you because I
They
don't want
called you,
anybody
wait,
to
they
think
called you the
actually
Armenian
like-
Oprah?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No,
You
yeah.
should own that.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
like me.
Phenomenal.
I'd be afraid to actually like utter those words because I don't want anybody to like, oh, you see me like Oprah? Like I'd be like, nah, I
It
didn't
was
mean
tiny.
it like that. Like
It was
Honey's-
tiny. It was tiny, which is amazing.
Marion Montel Williams.
oh, yo, we should. Me and her a rocket talk show. Yo. Only if Irish produces it.
Right.
I need to hear him chime in real quick. Hold on. What do you mean?
Anyways.
True
Okay, yeah.
facts.
Okay.
Sorry, Ani. The rest of us are smoking weed here. We go on tangents.
You're beautiful. I'm sorry. By the way, I love you. You're awesome.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna. I want to like not forget my questions. So the first question was, do you feel like through your life you've gone through equally as a man and woman, equally objectified as one or the other? Do you feel like one has been more present than the other?
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is why I'll explain it. I just figured out. Shut up and don't. takes
Don't
a
focus
couple
on him. Don't
No,
focus
just
on
look
him.
at me.
That's why
Yeah.
we're across the table. Focus
Yeah.
on us. Focus on us.
Yeah.
So I went through life just like you as a woman.
Sure.
We had a hard fucking life, didn't we?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
But imagine, you guys, if you had to deal with what we had to deal with and you were a guy. You, who you are, had to deal with who we were, having to act like this and that so that we have to ward off sex all the time. And without upsetting anyone, it is exhausting. You want us to pretend that we aren't disgusted by you sexually? We're not. It's just that when you get up in somebody's
I know
business.
what you're gonna say.
Imagine, I know I'm getting way up out of it.
No. I know what he's thinking. Go on.
Hold on. No.
No,
hold
go.
on.
Please
I
finish your
think-
thought.
I'm
hold
here.
on.
I want
Pretend
her to
I'm Bill
finish-
Burr, bitch.
No, I want you to finish your thought. So do you
So
feel
imagine
like, one or the other,
whatever we've had to do. No,
you feel equal?
I don't. Why does it matter if it's equal?
Be-
It's together.
the only reason why I'm
It's
asking,
just like imagine the pride of a man, but underneath
You
Like,
could be a female
Okay.
with that pride.
or
I
it's just,
understand.
and the point is, it's not just that. It's like everything. Imagine like I like women, but also, you guys ever put your arm around a woman's shoulder? Like, I'm 5'7", but I dated this chick who was like 5 foot, and I felt like, damn, there is a mentality, and you can't explain it unless you want to suck that for me and tell me how good it feels.
He'd
to be
do
a
it.
gay man.
He'd do it.
I love
He'd do
fucking
it.
sucking
I
dick
wouldn't
as
test
much
him.
as you do, bro. I
So
love
not
it.
at all.
Yo, what the fuck?
I don't buy
Nah.
that.
You
That's
haven't
not
tried
honest.
it. You don't know that yet.
That you know of.
I'm just
Facts,
trolling you, by
facts,
the way.
facts,
I'm
facts,
trolling you guys.
that's
I know
facts.
you go on Reddit and shit. Come on.
No worries. No worries.
Occasionally.
Okay,
May I please?
go for it.
All right. So the one thing that I did want to say was that you said feeling like us and having to ward off sex. The one thing that every guy kind of wishes to test of the other side of the board is getting catcalled all the time. You know what I mean? Like we
Oh,
wouldn't
I
be
do
warding.
it.
We
We
wouldn't
I
be
do
warding.
it. It's
and, like,
Frivolous pussy.
we wouldn't be warding that
I know.
off.
I
you know
heard
what
you
mean?
say that in your previous. I remember. Is this a recap?
But do you
got anything
understand?
new?
No,
Like,
hold on, hold on.
inherent-
Let me finish. We would very few of us would be warding that off. So like that's one of the side of the board that like we really would
your
want to
hair.
try on the other side, and like that's part of the few subtleties. So like I understand
Frivolous
completely, like,
dick is good too. You're right.
No, completely understood.
I love me some.
Completely
No, actually, I got rid of frivolous dick like 100 dicks ago, motherfucker.
There you go.
Okay.
I mean,
Like-
but like, my whole point in saying this is that like
I'm a
those small
fucking
subtleties,
stud,
like so.
motherfucker.
How
I
often
fuck
do you
women
hold the
too.
door open for a woman walking behind you?
I hold the door open for anyone walking, literally anyone, anybody. I do it. That's who I am. I don't know what men do, but I hold the door for
Well,
old people,
I
young
don't
people.
always
See,
open
I
the
only,
door for.
I hold the door
Irish. I
for
will
men.
if
It's
I-
like
but-
it's something you do that's nice for people. I don't fucking care.
But
if I
see,
don't
it's
have,
and it's like I told you in the conversation though. It's like you may feel like a man, that's fine, but you're like at least in the fuck department, you don't feel like a man because we just
what's
we don't
the
turn down
what's the least number of times you've ever made a woman have an orgasm when you had sex with her?
the least number
You're
of
asking the
times.
wrong two guys.
The least
Zero.
number.
Zero.
He answered that perfectly.
What
You
about
asked the
you?
wrong question.
Oh yeah, I've never
What
made
about
a
me?
The least number? I don't know. That's a really personal
The
question.
least amount of times
You
that
what?
you've ever made a woman come when you had sex with her?
You just
I've
asked
never
him. You
had
just asked
sex
him,
with
have
a
you
woman.
ever not made a woman come? That's basically what you're asking.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah, of
answered it
course.
perfectly. He
Of
said,
course.
I've never
Ev-
not
ev-
made a woman
I
come.
mean,
Well,
like,
does
I've
a
made
man make
myself
a woman
Does
come?
that count?
Yes. You know how to do it. That's the thing. I don't know what you do, but you probably could do it.
I don't allow myself
smart.
one orgasm until they have 10.
Really? That sounds like an exaggeration.
I have people that will call me that.
I'm tired.
That I will
you
introduce
can,
you to. That he has met.
we can just keep having
I don't know
sex
if you've
until you
met,
have
but,
10
like-
orgasms. That's a lot of
and
responsibility
you've,
for a
and you've
woman.
met some of the bitches I fuck with. and
Damn.
you've seen the testament.
People be like, it's like, just do.
We told you asking the wrong too. I enjoy fucking like nothing
Yeah.
else.
I
It's
like
my
to
favorite
fuck,
pastime.
All
but it's
guys
about.
do.
It depends on if you're good at it or not. If you're paying attention, that's the
We
number
don't
one thing.
care.
Right?
Ani,
Just-
what do you want to say?
Go ahead. I'm formulating my thoughts.
That's the thing, right? Is like as a
I
guy,
came.
as a guy, we don't
okay,
give a
so
shit
the
about
least
that.
number. Okay, well then,
like,
I don't
we
think
we
that that's
just wanna
something that
fuck.
only
I
women.
think a good
I've
point
had
that you wrote
I've
down
had
was men versus
boyfriends who
women
cared about that
respect.
shit.
I think the good thing that you wrote down is men versus women respect. So first off, if you've ever felt like so you say you feel like a man, and like I don't judge people on this anyway. So like how you feel or how you feel or whatever. Yo, I'm just gonna respect you as a person. I don't. All that stuff is such minutia to me that like, and people is so much more than that. That like, all that stuff becomes so trivial to me that like, every person is built by their actions first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? So like, man, female, I see him as a person built by his actions. You know what I'm saying? I quantify him right now by his because of his penis. Yes, that's they both end in IS. But the
So
fact
if
of this.
I got like one of those, if I got a sex change operation, I would be more of a man. That's
No.
insane.
No, I said literally the only
you know
reason
what I
I
mean?
said
Then why
his.
does that
If
mean-
you
No,
want
it
the
wouldn't-
if you
it
want the
wouldn't
label
make you more
his,
man.
I will give it to you for free. You don't have to get the dick.
I don't
I said
even
literally
need
the
that.
only reason I'm
now
calling
it's
him
about pronouns. Who
no,
gives a fuck
exactly. That's
about-
why I said the only
I'll
reason I
take
give him
anything.
that pronoun is because of his penis. I'm
If
literally
you-
saying it's worth nothing. I'm literally saying that pronoun is worth nothing.
Okay,
I'm
then
literally
I'm gonna
giving
start.
to it
If
because
I
like,
start calling you she all the time, would you be okay with that if I called you she all
I
the
probably
time?
would forget you exist, but like it's
Exactly.
Fine. Like,
You wouldn't like it.
Right, but is
You
he,
missed what
but
I'm
is,
saying.
but is he
You missed what I'm
correcting
saying.
you saying that, or is
You're
he just
missing what I'm
is he just
saying.
not giving a shit?
I-
If you
I
are a
said
guy,
that-
you are a guy. If you think you're a guy, you're definitely a
Right,
guy.
but I don't give
you
a
missed,
shit
seem
what
like
people
what I
call me.
said. You missed what I said. You missed what I said. You missed what I said. You missed what I
What?
said. I literally am saying what you're saying, and you're fighting me. I said that his pronoun is trivial. He was born with a part. That's why I called him his. I literally said that. I called him it because he's born with a part. I'm literally saying that his belongs to his penis. I'm literally saying if they removed it, I maybe call him her. I don't know. But I'm saying because society built it this way, I'm using it. And I quantified that. I told you why I'm using it. Why
Do you think that makes it okay?
It's the way we understand it. I'm not going to go through 100 words to explain something that we understand in one. It's not the way I do things.
Have you ever thought maybe that there's some shit you could learn about this stuff and then maybe you would understand it better?
First off, I'm
just saying.
Learn about putting people in boxes. I don't want to put people in boxes. Smaller and smaller. Labels are just boxes. And you put them in smaller and smaller boxes.
The person who does the least labeling that I know is you.
Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
care
you're
to do
good.
it.
I'm not saying shit.
It feels like you're fighting me, and I don't understand why.
And like for instance, like we've talked about this a lot, where a lot of the times I feel like, is my brain like more male sometimes than like female? Like a lot of we've talked about this extensively.
Like if you watch our episode, the episode that we had with her last, like we literally like, oh, you have guy brain. Like I'm not here judging people. Like no, like I'm telling you why I'm
great.
That
Yeah,
way,
you're
like,
amazing.
And I identify as
But Ani
straight,
also understands
like,
she'll never actually be one of the guys.
I don't identify as a male. I identify as straight. I
yeah,
identify
you see, and
like,
that's cool.
All of these
like,
things.
That's totally fine.
But there are like parts of my brain where I'm like, that feels more masculine or dominant or like whatever that you might put in a societal box as like male.
That's
but
what
I would never.
Well, male and man aren't the same thing.
Right. I understand what you're saying, but I would never. Me personally, maybe you're different, whatever. Everybody's different, but I would never put myself in that box.
Like you understand?
I'm a dude.
You saying
I'm one of the guys
you saying you understand what
like,
it
you know
feels
what I mean?
like to be a man is almost like if I dyed my skin black and was like, hey, charismatic. I get what the black experience
like
is
that
right
is
now, right?
That's
that's
funny.
me personally.
That would
what
be
is
hilarious.
it to be a man then?
But that's me personally. If you feel
That's a
differently, I
great
respect
question.
that. But I want to understand where you're coming from so that we can have a constructive conversation.
That'd be great.
You feel like a guy, so why don't you tell us what you think it is to be a guy?
I think she's explained. I understand what you're saying.
All right, I'll tell you. I have a list. I've actually thought about this. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to say it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Cool. I protect women. Just wait until I'm done. It's a list. Please just listen because I know.
How many is it? Because that's going to be a lot to go if we don't go point by point. I'm going to have to remember like 7 points.
When you started out, and then I'm
7.
sorry that I started like that, but you were like, yo, let's lay out the principles.
Yeah.
It's good to lay out a set. This is going to be a complex conversation.
Do
it's better.
Do you have a syllabus for
Give us like
the
top
list
5.
so I can remember
Give us
them?
top 5.
I was going to count on my fucking fingers. You're so concerned.
No, he just
I
didn't want
smoke weed.
to.
Okay, stop interrupting
He didn't
her.
want
Let
the
her
list
talk.
to go so
Jesus
long that he would
Christ.
forget
Whoa,
some of your
whoa,
points.
whoa,
He didn't want the
ladies,
list to go so long he
gentlemen,
would forget some of your
relax.
points. That's the point he was trying to make. That was all.
This is brought to you by a tiny book, a CD, because we're hipsters
And Winky Jesus.
and millennials. And this is, he's cute. I like that guy.
Winky Irish. All right. Let's
Poopy
start.
No. Okay. So if you want to know, protect women. I'm the one in the fucking door with the baseball bat. Remember, don't worry about whether or not you have a penis. Okay? You're kind of like awkward around other women. You don't know what to do around them. You kind of are like weird because like you don't fit in with the other chicks because you're like a dude. Like you just walk around like there's stuff like I got called a dyke when I was 11 years old and I didn't know what it meant. And I was like, what the fuck? And it all just adds up to the fact that I'm willing to take care of people. And it's not just like that. I mean, I'm like but I'm also a chick. But the point is, I think it's our responsibility. Look at Martin Luther King. Look at Martin Luther. Look at like a lot of people who've had the chance to make a difference as men is because people listen to them. That's why I'm a comedian, because I want people to fucking listen when I fucking talk and realize that it's important to think about something in a complex way and remember that this isn't a simple thing. And I think that Ani's really cool at trying to get us to listen to each other, which I appreciate. By the way, shout out to Ani, for real.
Moushy.
Need your own talk show. But
I agree with that.
this is to me
you
it's
know, bro.
supposed to, I was hoping it was going to be a roundtable discussion because and now I'm hearing you reiterate. I watched that previous podcast of yours for a reason.
So if I may comment on all those things that you just said, valid. However, I identify with all those things,
Yep.
but as a female,
Yeah.
like if
so-
you're saying that in like response to like you feel like you have to do those things as a female,
But
but
it's
you
not
feel
about a
like
female.
as in the mind of a male, you have to do those things in order to protect females. Is that what you mean?
No, it's women. Oh
Or
my
women?
God.
Okay, I'm just honestly just trying to understand.
Yeah, but see those questions like either or yes or no, those questions are hard because
I'm the first person to like step to somebody.
yeah,
and,
you're
like,
right. Yeah,
you know what
you're
I mean?
awesome, but you're totally a chick. You know why? Because you're beautiful and you dress beautifully.
You
like
don't think you're beautiful?
hot.
You're beautiful.
No, just let me compliment this woman right now.
Thank you,
That's
but
fair, that's
it
fair.
has
Okay,
nothing
go ahead,
with
go
the
ahead.
way
No,
that
I'm
I
not-
dress.
It's
Like
not.
I could,
It's about your demeanor. It's about the way you carry yourself. It's about
yeah,
everything.
but I don't have to
And
think
the
like
way
a
you
guy.
Guys.
I
Exactly.
can think
Guys out
dominantly.
there, do you
Exactly. I
hear-
totally agree with
Do you
you.
hear all the talking that's just happening? This is why, as guys, we just inherently don't like. You just went on I let you have the floor for a good probably 5 minutes, and I sat
Sorry.
there and I genuinely listened to it. I
Good.
genuinely
All right, now I'm
internalized
gonna let
all
you.
of it,
Yeah, cool.
and it was just words. It meant nothing. It literally meant nothing. It's my job to protect the woman. Yeah, if someone attacks her. But if my bitch opens her mouth to someone, if you think you're so bad, it's not my job to get in a fight because you open your fucking mouth at someone. So that already doesn't make any sense. Point one already doesn't make any sense at all, which makes sense that you would have that because you're coming from a woman's perspective. You don't have a guy's perspective.
So you're just proving to me right now that I'm wrong about who I am. That's good to know.
No.
No,
that's
that's
not
what
what
he's-
that's not what he's saying.
Well, you're
though.
saying
See,
I
no.
am not a
That's what he's
man,
saying.
right?
That's your. See,
Am I?
that's
Did you
your
say I'm not a
emotional-
man?
I said you don't have a guy's perspective.
Okay, and how do you know that?
Because everything you say and do that you're going, I'm a guy, is all counter to
Okay,
what a
what
guy
makes
would do.
you? Okay, what do you think makes a man a man? Shitty
Bec-
qualities.
Because me and every
No.
other guy does the same fucking thing. 'cause we're
Exactly,
all
that's what I
guys.
mean.
And
It-
you
I'm
don't
a
do
guy
any
too.
of those things, so you
Like
aren't a
what?
guy.
Like what?
Fucking frivolously. I don't
I have
know.
to use
How about
women
this? How
to
about this?
be a
You
man?
want the same respect.
I have to
You
use
want the
women?
same
Gay guys
respect.
fuck
You want the
frivolously.
same respect that I give another man. However, do you understand that respect that I give another man comes with the understanding that we could go to fucking blows at any moment if we fucking really disagree on something? We can't do
It's
that.
entirely
We
built
can't
on
do that.
violence for
right.
you.
Yes, because we're men. We're violent people. We're violent, mean
I'm
people.
violent. I have violent ideations too.
Wonderful, and we can't get in a
I
fight.
could.
Right,
Do you want
so
me to
I
whip
can't.
your ass? Is that what this
No,
is about?
because guess what?
Like,
I'll
do
go
you
to
want to
jail
go out in
because
the
I'm a
fucking
man.
parking lot?
Sweetheart.
Are you sure,
I
dude?
think
Yes,
I've
because,
never-
yes, because guess what? If it went to a fight, it wouldn't work out for you.
Gerby said this the best.
Why
the
is this
first time
always
that I
the
was
thing
on.
you- the
Because
underlying
because
threat
I'm
of
explaining to you why you don't
I have to
it
let him
because that's
finish.
what
Yeah,
men
we-
are
we
like.
let him, like-
I'm explaining. You asked what the male perspective is, and I'm telling you what
We
it is,
made him
and then
wait.
you're disagreeing with what the
No,
male
I know
perspective
exactly.
is.
No, you're right. I just think it's fucked up.
Yeah, okay, then say that. Why you? This is why you're getting.
Because
This is
there's
why
two
guys
sides to
fucking
masculinity.
hate your kind because you guys fucking lie. You can't just come out and just say that up front. You just said like, oh, well, I agree, but it's fucked up. Then say that.
There's
say
a
I
duality.
agree, but it's
There's
fucked up.
good parts and bad parts. I try to
This
subscribe to
duality
the
is
See,
good
bad.
now,
parts.
see, now you're being slick because I just went on a long tirade to explain why you're wrong, and now you're going, oh, but okay, I agree with you. And it's like, no, you didn't. Stay
No,
firm in the
it's
fact that
just
you
that you're
disagreed with me.
finding
Admit
out-
that you're
no.
wrong, and it's fine. We can go on.
Maybe it's more
All right, let's
complex
give
than
Ani
you're
a
letting
little,
it on.
a little
think-
chance.
It's not, because when you boil it down to the root on a nature level, all guys are the same and all girls are the same. And
That's
that's
a
how
big
it fucking
generalization.
works. Yes, because we're talking about millions of people. This show is built on generalizations. We have to generalize here. We're going to generalize most guys do this and most ladies do this. Yes, there's exceptions. There's fucking exceptions in nature and
Do you
everything.
care
but more
about the
often than not,
exceptions?
I
'Cause
don't
we
give
all-
a fuck. I'm talking about the mass populace right now because that's most people. The rest of them, go create some other podcast to figure that shit out. I'm trying to figure out how to help most fucking people because most people all deal with the same shit.
Let me whittle this
And
down a little
and
bit.
the
Let me-
percentage
let
of
me
what you're
pour some-
talking about, those people that are different, is like
Let me pour some ice water on this. Let me
Called
pour
a
some water on this.
minority.
Yes,
let me
like
put it,
5%.
Let me put a little bit of ice on this.
May I ask In what ways are you a minority?
Oh, so
She's an
many ways.
Armenian.
So
You're
we
A
can.
bunch of people
we-
tried to kill her people
we
off. She
took-
gets the strife.
Hell yeah, dude.
Everyone's tried to kill our
do-
people. I'm Irish. I
What
get
we
it
tried
too.
to
Everyone
do-
fucking hated us when we came here
Everyone,
too.
Native American.
Native American,
You just
I get
fuck
it.
out there, man.
What we tried to do is explain the male-female dynamic from the only perspective we have, which is the male perspective.
Yes, we know.
So you can't
Every
fault
TV
us
show-
for
Yes,
I'm
that's,
not- I'm
'cause that's
just
all
saying
I give
there's
a shit
another
about.
perspective.
A happy man is a happy everyone around him. A happy woman usually means there's an unhappy guy. You hear that fucking laughing over there? Because he knows what the fuck I'm talking about. And you even giggle too. 'cause
It's
you know
really
what's up.
good.
And
It's
she's
really
smiling.
good, like,
Ani, now I'll let
it's
you have
really
the
good
floor,
humor.
sweetheart, after you.
No,
I'll-
it would
I'll
be
shut
good if
up.
I didn't
fucking
know that this
sweetheart
is
me.
all
You
built
know
on
better.
violence.
I know.
You fucking
know.
know
I do
better.
that.
I'm a
Apologize.
fucking call me a
Apologize.
hippie.
You're
I'm
talking over
straight
each
up-
other, right? I can't hear anything.
So you guys are like talking. Everything's
No,
built
you're
on
riled
violence.
up.
You're saying that everything is built on violence, and I'm saying that's fucking wrong.
What he's
dude.
saying,
No.
he's saying is
Again,
that
gonna-
the male equality system is built completely different. So, like, let me give you a quick story. Give me
your phone's going on.
give me King's story time real quick.
Can
Hit me with King's story time real quick.
To the right, yeah.
All right. So
King's story time.
this should explain the male psyche a little bit as far as equality goes. So in high school we had only a male's hockey team. So by law in Massachusetts, if you have only a male something, women must be allowed to play. So when they were now going to try out for the this hockey team, all the standards that the men had to reach for years were cutting half for the women to meet. So now, is that equality? Because in a guy's eyes, you've now made it easy for these people to climb in the ring when it was very difficult for us to get there. You know what I mean? So we're not seeing that as equality. Even though the law is forcing equality on us in that situation, it's no way equal in any eyes because the road we had to take is now being cut in half. If the person had to meet the same exact standard or the standards were lessened for everyone, that's a different story. The road to becoming a hockey player in high school, a high school hockey player.
The point
If that road was built the same for everybody, it would have the same standards to meet. You know what I'm
So
saying?
it was a hockey team that you're referencing,
It's-
and you're extrapolating that to all of the female
No,
experience.
we're using that as an
Do
example.
you understand what a
Yeah,
metaphor
that's a pretty
is?
extreme
Do you
example.
Do you understand what a metaphor
Why
is?
do you think he's over there laughing?
He's
he thinks
laughing.
I'm
He's
funny.
not
Because
laughing
you don't
at me.
understand what a metaphor
he's laughing
is.
at because I'm trying to be.
And you're a
meta-
comic and you don't understand what a metaphor is.
I definitely know what a metaphor
Well,
is.
then you would get his point.
I do get it.
But you don't because you're saying it's an extreme example, but it's not the example explicitly. It's a metaphor to explain
Right,
his example more
obviously.
clearly.
It's
because you have
very-
to create
it's- you're
because
just
when
cutting
you're
right to the bone
because
there.
when you're arguing with stubborn people, you have to give them metaphors and different fucking ways to try and get through and make them understand your point because it's difficult to understand. That's why we have so many fights because it's hard to get through to different people. So you gotta fucking try different keys in the lock. Which one's the one that's gonna open the door? There it is.
Is that how you have sex?
Yes.
Yes. Actually,
Yes, yes.
my move is the
Yes.
if we're talking finger popping, I go for the looking for change. It's the
One
classic
key,
tried and true.
two key.
Yeah, don't
three
you love how
key.
they think there's like a button that you could just?
Yeah, there
it's
is.
not
That-
a fucking
Yeah,
Yeah,
elevator.
there
dude.
is. That's why not
It's
a week
not an
ago there's a bitch
elevator.
squirting on that job. So
Do you want to see what it really looks like?
I know
It's
how
like
it works,
that.
sweetheart.
Fuck
Let
you,
me
dude.
explain
It's
something
like,
to you.
what
With the sweetheart, dude.
Because let me explain something to you. If you're trying to
baby
hunt a
girl,
deer, if you're
ooh.
trying to hunt a deer,
Sorry.
you don't go ask the deer how to hunt it. You ask the fucking hunter.
See,
We
I
hunt
went-
you.
I did
We know
ask
how
the
to get
deer.
you.
I
You
did
don't
ask
know
the
how to
Can I
get
show you
you.
an example?
Sh-
So
you
when
can
I was
try.
in
Go ahead.
first grade, you hunt, right?
Yes.
You hunt,
You
right?
hunted in first grade.
You hunt, right?
In first grade.
You know what a stud is, right?
I'm sure you
Someone
shot
who
and
gets
killed
a lot of
deer at
ass.
first grade.
Okay.
Wait.
A
Okay, no,
stud.
that's fair,
So
that's
you
fair, that's
fuck
fair.
all the time.
See.
So
Hold on,
the
hold on.
point is,
there's two different studs. There's two
you
different
just
studs. So-
that was just the premise. There was something.
No, I understand. I never understood a stud to be that. I just because a stud as a girl is like the.
There, no,
the
as a girl,
really,
you just
like-
put as a girl after it. Just say what is a stud because women don't get described as studs. They're sluts.
No,
it's
there
obvious
are,
the
no,
inverse.
No, there are female studs.
Well, right, exactly. So now let's think about it this way. And I am female. Hell yeah, I'm female. I am female.
Right,
100%.
which is
What
why
I'm
you
saying
haven't
is
earned the
the
right to
female,
call yourself
the
a guy.
meaning of a female stud is the same thing as like a very
I
butch
haven't
a
been
very
got-
butch lesbian. You know what I'm saying?
Explain shit. It's
Hold
not.
on, hold
what
on.
if it's not simple?
not everything's not simple though.
Yeah, but some things aren't simple. This is not simple.
But this is
There's
the thing,
shit
right?
you
This
don't-
is not that
This is the thing.
complex. as
We're
people make
we're
it. It's
explaining
really
to you
not.
why it is this way. You're not explaining to us why it's not that way, other than just giving a typical answer of it's not that simple. But why is it not that
Right,
simple?
but because
you
then
you
I
realize how
begin
that's
to-
just a frivolous
No,
answer?
I say that because but I say that because I try to explain and then it's so what I mean is when I try to say something, maybe I'm sorry it takes me a second, but there's complex stuff at
that's
play.
fair.
And if you say you don't know anything about this, there's some shit you don't know.
Do you know why?
That's
it-
no-
People
none
who
of us
study
said
that
we
shit
don't know
for
anything
college.
about it.
But-
No, what I'm saying is, in comparison, I know people who majored in this shit and they read about it, they figure out things about things. Just like people who have African American studies, queer studies, we got women's studies, and that
let's
shit.
also,
So basically,
I am a
if
person
you
with.
get
I'm a degreed individual. Let's also say
Sweet.
that being a degreed individual does not make you an expert on anything.
No,
I know
what's your
many
degree?
many
it
experts
doesn't
without
make you an
degrees.
expert, but it
Let's-
does mean
let's-
that they have something
let's-
to offer.
let's
and
It
you
does.
saying,
It does. It
let's
does. It
And
does.
it's what
use-
I'm
They
trying
should.
to
I think they
respond.
should have something to offer. Yes,
Well,
should.
well,
There's people that get it by.
But I
by
do,
shitty
and
means.
that's what I mean is when you're like, y'all try to be describing some shit, and then y'all do like are good at derailing.
So like,
I hate
my
you right now.
only point would be
engineer,
this.
right? You were an engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, when let's just say 4-year degree, right? Blah blah blah. You go through. You get here's your degree, Uche. You're now
Yeah, you have it.
you're now an engineer, right? But you're not really an engineer because you haven't gone out and done any actual engineer work. So
Facts.
you wouldn't like in the same way that right when I got out of audio school, I didn't go around telling them like I'm an audio producer. I'm like, yeah, I can mix and do stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I mean, at the same time,
Because you
like,
had
everybody-
to earn the right to call
everybody
yourself
will,
an
everybody
engineer.
will respect you as an engineer, but that's when they start asking, "What's your experience level?" You know what I'm saying?
Because
now,
no one's
now it's like,
asked
how
for
much
my
should I
degree.
respect you?
No one's ever asked to see my degree, and I've worked with fucking Grammy winners, guys. I've worked with all kinds of people like that. That shit doesn't fucking matter. It's experience, the experience, and that's my point. Is like because you haven't had to experience life as a guy the same way I haven't had to experience life as a woman. Then it's like I can't. I could. You know what I mean? I can't tell you what the woman experience is because I'm not a woman. I didn't have to go through being catcalled or having guys try to fucking hit on me or this or that or whatever. All the bullshit you guys go
And
through.
if I went to tell it to you, I'd have to tell you literally from what women told me. It'd be literally a by proxy experience. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like all the experiences that I have come into contact with. I mean, I brought my sister on the show. If you go back and watch that episode, and like, I usually am very very good at getting through to people, and like I feel like we keep missing each other somewhere, and it's breaking my heart.
It's because I actually specialize in this shit, and you guys haven't even asked what I It's like because I know shit about this stuff. I'm a person, and you can learn things, and it's really.
Specialized how?
You see that?
No, he's asking. He's
No,
asking.
he's-
How
that's
do you
a
get your
genuine question.
specialization? That's
That's
a
a
fair
genuine
question.
question.
Just to say you're a specialist is
I'm a
not
logistics
fair.
expert at NASA.
Cool. That's
Just
awesome.
because I said
Stop.
You
that's
can't
the
just
thing.
take it at face
We're
value
talking
like
about
that.
gender and
The
shit.
hate's coming out.
fair.
You
He's
say,
saying
what
we're
is it
not
to be a
hate.
man?
That's
You
genuine
don't.
question.
I specialize in how to explain this shit. You guys
They
keep
ask
cutting
you,
me
where does
off.
no,
Based
that's
on
where does that come
what?
from? Where does that experience come from?
What is your specialized studies in?
You try to get through
Like,
the wrong
what
way.
is
I'm gonna
your-
slip this ball.
What's your? Is
That's
this what you
all
do
we're
for
trying to
work?
find
I was
out.
thinking, my buddy said to me, I said, you know what? I said, I'm concerned that the way that this podcast is going to go because I watched it and I saw the way that this might go. But I thought that maybe it was just those circumstances, but it came back with the exact same lines from before. Maybe I thought that y'all had learned something.
I'm nothing
You
if
come
not
back with
honest
the-
and consistent.
It's not about being honest. It's about that's your honest opinion, but your opinion doesn't change upon conversations with other people. It's like it didn't
That
even
doesn't make
bounce
any
off your
sense at all.
fucking skull.
All right.
Does that make sense to you?
We're gonna
Anyone?
just regroup. So, I still didn't get to my second point, but I do want to know what you're specialized in because that's gonna inform
Get
the
to your
rest of this
second point.
conversation.
Get to your second point, Anna. You're lovely. You're wonderful.
That,
Go ahead.
she's doing a good job.
You-
She's doing a good job. Ani,
You
keep
need
going,
like
keep
a
going.
2-minute break.
Yeah,
Okay.
smoke that bong a little bit.
Yeah,
Ani,
you need it.
Ani's hitting the head.
Wanna go
the
take
nail
a
on the
lap?
head.
You want to get some water, buddy? Okay, thanks.
Ani's hitting the nail on the head right now.
Throw the fucking tennis ball.
Ani,
on it, I'll
Ani,
take a lap.
we'll let you can host it the rest of the time. I'll take. No, honestly, I'm being honest. You're the only one. You're doing the best job of mediating this.
Thank
so.
you.
That's why I brought her. I love Ani. She's the best.
Fair. She's doing the best job of mediating this. I'm trying. I mean, she's doing.
It just seems like a weird way to interact.
What do you mean?
It's honest. We're not
See-
bullshitting.
No,
We're
no,
having
it's
honest
common.
conversations.
You think
You're-
I'm bullshitting you right
No,
now?
no,
I
no.
swear to
Hey,
God.
I'm
put you on
seriously
timeout.
That's what you
genuinely
think.
asking
I'm
you a
not
question.
bullshitting you
Irish-
at all.
Irish, respect
So
him.
you
I don't-
can
Irish-
you
you
need to
are.
regroup
I don't think
yourself.
you are.
I'm the
Irish,
host
respect it.
now.
We put you on timeout. We put you on timeout.
I'm the
bro.
host now.
Respect it. Respect it. We put you on timeout. We put you on timeout.
It's like, what do you even fucking want from people?
And we
No.
put him on timeout. He can't respond, so leave him out of it right now.
Why do a
Because
No,
because
to
I'm
Pisani.
talking.
To Pisani.
I'm
What the hell?
talking.
We brought her on as a special guest, and you go disrespect her? Come on now, bro. Really relax.
You guys are talking too.
I'm being quiet for the most part. I'm trying to shut you up.
Keep
Relax.
interrupting me and calling me sweetheart. I don't like it.
I'm saying let the ladies have the floor.
God damn.
I may ask a question.
I already heard, both of y'all before. That's what I mean. Like, y'all the hosts. And that's what Dom said when he said he was establishing his channel. He said, people know who I am. I want them to know who my
Please
guests
stop.
are. He has a good potential.
You see what I'm doing. You see what
Can
I'm
I-
doing, right?
can
I'm
I
trying to be fair as
interject?
possible, right? Let's. You guys are having a fair discussion, and this is what we're
I
here to do.
Seriously have two questions that I want to get to. The
There we
answers.
go.
Okay. We good? We good? We good?
Yes,
we
I
gonna
would
be
love to
grown
hear what
adults,
you have
yep.
to say.
Okay.
honey.
I really want to know what your specialty is in. Seriously. I'm
Thank
asking
you.
a question.
Cool.
Go.
Thank you. Anthropology, sociology, gender and women's studies, philosophy,
Awesome.
and
So what
and
do you work
fucking,
in?
Like, studied humor. I've studied music. I've studied
So-
fucking. I've literally studied
Shut
this
up.
shit.
What is your current work in? Do you work in that industry now?
Oh no, dude! I do like citations and shit.
Okay.
It's really
That's
like
fair.
that's just shit that I know about, and that's why I want to do podcasts. It's because I want to disseminate fucking information and shit.
Okay.
And sometimes people are full of dog shit and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and sometimes they do know what they're talking about, and sometimes there's a spectrum of what's in between, and sometimes there's just different perspectives to know things from.
Okay.
But we have to realize that it's a matter of opinion, so you don't get to get mad. I don't care if people call me she and shit, but you don't get to treat me like I'm a piece of sex. Do you want me to cut off my breasts and get a penis? Is that what it would have to take for you to stop acting like it's a problem for me to be a man?
Do you
Like,
feel
she
like that's
doesn't-
what's happening in this instance, or do you feel like
It's
as
just
a
that's
general?
the issue. That is the first of all, yes. And I think that this is. I was like, because this is the epitome of what we call the Breitbart kind of mentality. It's cute. Where there's just this women are pussy, frivolous pussy. Really? Do you know how frivolous dick
At
is?
first.
Oh my God. What, you
Irish.
think we're going to get hooked on your
Stop.
fucking lovin'? Are you fucking serious? The most important thing to ever know about women is you have to pay attention to each and every one of them just to satisfy them. Literally, you can't satisfy women all the same way, or men, but especially women. And you have to know the first and last thing you ever know about whether or not you can pleasure a woman is if you forget most of what you've ever learned.
So let me ask you a question. In
And so
this-
anyway, the point that men think about their dick and stuff is dude, come on.
So-
That's that's the difference.
when you're talking about in this instance specifically,
Yeah.
this is you feel like you're
It's
like a
one part
sex
of it.
piece or something like that.
Yeah,
when
because
you were
it's oh, we
talking,
can't chill.
when you were talking
like if
to
you
one
have
of
time-
them, when you hit up, I'm
We gotta
using
give
just
her her
Irish
own
as
show.
an example, when you hit up Irish or whatever, and he gave you whatever honest response that either you weren't satisfied with or
I'm
whatever.
gonna jerk off or you're gonna be here.
So, whatever his response was, if the
Mama's gonna
I
get
if
don't,
the
I don't
script
believe I said anything about jerking off.
okay, if the script
I know,
was
but
flipped
that's the alternative.
and he hit you up saying what you said, you wouldn't feel that way the same way?
No.
This is the problem. You couldn't handle the rejection up front that I only want to spend my time with a chick in my room, hanging out outside of the professions, comedy and music. I want to spend my personal free time fucking. That's what I want to do. So if you want to
Did you
do,
fuck that night?
yes, I did actually.
Oh, good for you. Does
Yeah.
that happen every time?
Yes.
happens a
Yeah,
lot.
it does.
Okay.
You know
Is
why?
that what you like?
Can I
Is
make
that
my
is that
point?
you're living your best life just
Yeah.
getting frivolous
Right now?
pussy?
Can I
Good
make
for
my
you.
Yeah.
Can I make my
That's
point?
your opinion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because when you guys were
a guy's
interacting,
opinion.
talking about this right now, and I'm observing
Sorry.
this conversation.
I was trying to talk to you. My bad.
That's okay. At the beginning of this podcast, when we were recapping this, my immediate thought was, and this is not an attack at all, but my immediate thought was if somebody hit me up at whatever late hour or whatever, I don't care what time it was, whatever, and I didn't know them and they wanted to come to my house, if you had said like, oh, come over, hang, whatever, either way, and I didn't know them,
He's the one who said have a little fun.
My immediate response would be to think this person wants to fuck me. If they had said, all right, not down to fuck, but you want to be friends and chill, it would not be at my home.
Okay.
And like,
Thank you, Miss Ani.
Before either
Queen,
one of you continue.
But there's a lot
Thank you,
of other
Queen Ani.
shit
I
that I
haven't
was ready.
spoken in
I
a
was
little
willing to
while.
move
I
on
haven't spoken in a little
from that.
while.
There
I've
was
been
Okay,
very good.
but
I haven't spoken in a little while.
I'm not trying to be a dick at all. But do you like as a
yes,
woman, as a
I
male,
recognize that.
Okay.
So let me say this
So-
quickly. Let me say this quickly.
Just one
So,
last
like,
thing. One last thing. Promise, and then you can talk, and I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
You don't have to
So
shut the fuck up.
I know, but I just want to get it out and be done with this sentence. Okay. So that being said, when we're having a conversation about this, what's appropriate, what's not, and like who's attacking who on who wants to, like I'm talking, like who wants to fuck or whatever, like, do you see what we mean by like who's saying what about who wants to fuck and what's appropriate in friendships and all that? Does that make sense?
He just said.
Do you see what I'm trying to get at?
I see it.
Am I
think-
making sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think that should be less of a false. That's a false dichotomy. You know what? Do you want to hear a compliment that I recently got?
Not really, but go ahead.
You're a dick.
I'm just being honest. Is it relevant to the point? If it's relevant to the point, yes.
I'm
of
being
course.
honest too.
What
Do
maybe
I want to
it
hear?
fucking is.
Do I want to? Okay, well, if it is, go ahead. If it's just an
We said
irreverent
yes. We
compliment,
said yes. We said
like,
yes. We
go
said
ahead.
yes.
Majority
We said
rules.
There's two of them. Go ahead.
Majority rules.
My voice doesn't
That was
even
a
matter on
very
this
odd
one.
way.
He's triggered. Go on.
Irish.
It's all
You're
right.
triggered.
No,
I'm sorry. When
Irish, we
you
know
don't
how
get
this
to
is gonna
fuck
go.
or talk the whole time.
I think I'm
Go
doing a
on.
good job mediating too. Okay.
Sweetheart, I've moved on from fucking you. It's all right.
Oh,
You
thank
can,
God.
You can accept the rejection now and quit
No,
being emotional
like
about
no,
it.
I never
Do you
actually
see-
wanted to fuck you. That's okay.
Okay, and that's fine. But then you kept
But-
being emotional about it.
I'm not. Oh my God, you're just a.
The good old four-eyed
All
misogynist.
right. So
Those are your emotional words.
The quick, which I did not appreciate. I wear
Wait,
glasses.
you're not
Four
like
eyes-
that.
No, I know, but like
you're not a misogynist.
No, I understand, but like
ain't a
you
feminist
attacked all
either.
Four eyes first off. That was the first word. Four
And it
eyes
was an
misogynist,
emotional
like,
answer
I was
because
like-
you're a woman and you're emotional. There, I
I
got
was like-
clappy like a woman. There we go. Like that. I did that for all y'all.
I was like,
It's all the
cute.
estrogen.
That
Our
was
periods
cute.
got synced.
see,
it
I
it
told
brought
you
it out
he'd
of
be
me.
good with the dick. Anyways, I digress. Anyways, when
you
he showed
saying
that to
that
me, I
men
was
aren't
like,
good with
yo,
dicks?
no, I said that's why I said he would be good with dicks.
Okay.
He just. I
Oh
was
my
like,
God,
yeah, man,
dude.
I can see him hitting the
I
balls
feel
real
like
quick.
a
You know what
dog
I'm saying?
right
Like,
now.
Well, let's be honest. A guy would suck dick probably way better than a woman would.
This dude. Anyways, so what
Probably
I
because
what
they've
I
had
was
a
We
dick
pay
their whole life.
attention. At least.
boom.
This is Ani's gonna be the goddamn new third.
I know you.
Right,
I
so-
told
I know you
like,
watch
bro,
gay
that's-
porn, dude.
Yeah,
Why
of
not?
course.
Why not? What's
Then
wrong
to
with
jerk
that?
off to observe.
Why not?
What's wrong with
I
that?
usually
there-
watch
there-
girls.
And because
sure.
it's funny.
There's
See, now if you were a guy, you would have played the game where we all take our dicks out and put on gay porn and see who gets a boner first, and then you beat him up.
No,
it's
that's
hilarious.
those people are homophobic because they're
Huh?
afraid
It's-
of
it's a
being
joke.
gay.
It's a
Nah,
joke,
do we be
sweetheart.
playing if we was playing? Like that's the thing too. I'm just saying.
we both said we have no issue with gay porn, right?
Oh, this is the thing you can't do. It's a joke.
Exactly.
Anyways, the point that I was trying to make was this, like
Exactly, but you
the
disagreed
point
with
that
it.
it's so. This is to the point that how odd it could be because like I don't allow friends to bring their friends to my house if I haven't met them before. You're not allowed in my
Yeah.
intimate space. It doesn't matter how close you are to being
I'm like
home. You
that
know what I
too.
mean? Like you can't like. There's no
But
like.
why are
oh,
we-
No,
Like-
I just wanted to make this point in the middle of it. It sounds like we're rehashing now.
Is that gonna be
because,
the
like,
entire
No.
time?
When
it sounds
you're-
like
when
we're
you
rehashing
finish
now
it,
because
then
it
we're
took a
gonna be
while
done
for
with
me
this.
allowed to talk. You know what I mean? 'Cause I wanted to allow everyone to finish because I kept shutting him up and I
Yeah,
kept
sorry.
trying to mediate that. So that's why it sounds like we're going back because it took me this long to address that fucking point and I had to keep track of that fucking point I wanted to make because everyone else was talking.
Imagine how long I had to wait to make my point.
No, I know. That's why I kept trying to shut everyone else up. And I'm like, all right, like, I'm trying to be respectful of the point, too. And I'm like, damn, like, y'all are long-winded, both of y'all. Y'all are both long-winded. I was like, God damn, man, I want to say one thing. Let me
Me
get
and
this
Ani
one
like to
sentence out.
talk. What can I say?
Oh, my God, man. I just wanted to say one thing, dog. Oh, my God. Oh.
Anyways, Moving on.
Fucking white people.
Moving
Yo,
right
man.
along.
I'm trying to survive here, dog. I'm outnumbered.
I'm a shade.
Y'all are beautiful.
I'm a shade.
A shade.
One
shade. You
shade.
trick them, though, so that means you're white enough.
True.
All right? You trick them.
In the summertime, I get a light crisp. I'm like Chris Brown in the summer.
Oh, man.
Chris
that guy,
Brown.
Yeah.
Chris Brown.
Yeah.
That got a little crispy right there. That was
Just no Krispy Kreme right now. That's after the show.
Oh.
like.
Sorry, as I make filthy jokes, that's one thing that's really awkward
You're
for
not
me.
alone. You're not alone. I
No,
do
but
that.
right, but you do it,
come
but like
literally to the place.
no,
for
like
that.
that's perfect because like I say filthy shit, like I'm gonna like punch. Like I told Dominic, I was like, go punch fuck your
Why
like
are we wobbly?
butthole or something, because he said
We all got it.
some gay
y'all,
shit.
Y'all gotta stop.
We just say some gay shit to each other. Sorry.
There we go.
That's A-okay.
I mean, I say gay shit all the time. It's kind of my.
It's
go-to.
kind of
This
like
gay shit's
Breitbart
hilarious.
trolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
I
plus, I
guess.
mean.
I'm
We
not
never
familiar
did
with them.
plugs.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
let's hit
let's
the
do that
plugs.
real quick. Leo, hit the plugs, yo.
Hit the plugs, Tom.
Yo, she's doing very good. Like, I mean, like, I like.
If you listen to
That's a
Adam's
very good audition. I like this. Like, this is
I
awesome.
didn't think
Like,
I
like
needed a
second one.
second and third audition. I think having over like 250 views on my first one was
I'm still not convinced.
probably
Give it-
enough. Yeah,
You know what?
fuck you
audition.
too.
I'm gonna be like
Fourth?
I'm gonna be like a woman with dates, Ani. 5 more dates, and then I'll let you fuck your way into this podcast. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yo,
kidding, Ani. You're doing
it's
great.
your boy
You're not.
I
Charismatic.
just know these Breitbart kids.
Yo, it's your boy Charismatic. Catch me at Charismatic IPD on Facebook, Charismatic_me on IG and Twitter. Catch me at the Comedy Studio on March 15th. That's also my mother's birthday. Shout out to my mama. All right, yo, Irish, hit him with that.
Yo, what's up? It's Irish O'Neil. Follow me on all social media at It's Irish O'Neil. Guys, follow the STC podcast at Shit Talking Cunts. We go live every Sunday at 6 p.m. Call in, be part of the conversation, guys. Also, shout out to this podcast. Obviously, Kingz, we got the number, we got the line going, guys. Call in if you got relationships, issues. Call in. We will help you figure that shit out.
Or if you're
Also-
queer.
Yeah, honestly.
Anyone.
Sure, that'd be a good story.
We'll help you figure it out anyway. I mean, I'll give you advice.
We'll try. We'll give you something.
It might not be relevant to you, but I'll fucking give it my goddamn best. I don't know.
Queer people got relationships too.
Oh, I have 2 of my friends.
I'm still doing my fucking plugs. God damn it.
Keep going.
Also, check out my band Dainsleif, guys. DAINSLEIF. Dainsleif.bandcamp.com. Get the album. Check out all that good shit. And there's a new album with another band coming out very shortly, too. So check that fucking shit out. Kit, go ahead. Plug what you got.
Thanks for having me. And there's some shit. I hope you guys learned something.
IG, Twitter? Your IG, your Twitter?
Kit Kat Riff Raff Cat with a C.
You
You don't have to plug it if you don't want.
I'm just giving you ideas.
Okay.
Just giving you ideas.
Ani, go ahead. Plug
Me,
what you got.
Ani Moush on Instagram, Ani_Moush. Etsy, Instagram page, by_Moush. I'm on Comic Comedy at Cleary's on February 3rd. And then I'm hosting a show with Joe Polana at Thunder Bar on February 13th.
Shout out Joe Polana.
Yes, it is my second series of the Extra Basic show, Valentine's edition. Very excited about that, so please come through February 13th at Thunder Bar.
Oh, yeah. Producer Dom, what'd you get to plug, big boy?
Dom Panzini at on Facebook and DTP_ZFC on Instagram and all of that.
Hell the fuck yeah.
Yeah, shout out to our fucking producer.
Oh,
So
wow.
now I can focus all my rage and energy here. Yeah. That's why I'm so charged. All my energy before was fucking sitting here with the mic and
I
the
know.
fucking mouse. Now it's all here.
Oh,
guys.
no.
Yeah, Ani's a break. She's like, get rid of Dom. She's like, Dom's great, but you gotta go back to that. You gotta try that. You gotta- you-
Co-producer's a
He
beast.
needs like a
Oh, wow.
Ani's,
spinner.
Ani's got a fucking, Ani's gonna.
Our
I need to sit across from him so I can kick him a couple times.
Ani's
I will set that
Ani's
up.
gotta
We'll
hit
set
me
that
with a
up.
fucking tranquilizer dart before we
Yeah.
start, just so I fucking like peter out about 10 minutes.
Yo. We gotta find a way to trank
You
you
know,
like
okay,
halfway through.
legitimately, this is what you gotta do. You gotta give me like 2,000 milligrams of weed edibles, then I'll probably be calm.
Yeah,
I mean,
wow.
I don't want you to be totally calm.
I said probably calm.
He said
Okay.
probably. It
Yeah,
won't
so
happen, it
this
won't
is
happen, it
doesn't
won't
even
happen.
matter.
You need to understand. Like people come to me, they're like, "Oh, I got some edibles." I'm like, "Yeah, how strong are they?" Like,
He
"Oh,
was
I
the
got
kid his
25."
mother kept on a leash.
They're like, "I got 25." Oh no, not at all, dude. I was a latchkey kid.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yo, so what's our next topic of discussion?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. Do we have? The second date things that you were showing me today. Do you want to talk about?
Oh
those
yeah,
stories or anything like-
yeah. Which was the last one that I
Second
sent you?
Are you talking
dates.
about the one that's like the crazy controversial one that we didn't know was real, or the one before it with the dress
The
thing?
controversial one.
Okay, yeah.
Because that pissed both of us off a little bit.
Yeah. So it was what was it? It was a guy.
So-
you remember the story? So basically,
Yeah.
the show. There's this radio show. And what's it? It's Jubal and what is it?
I don't know.
I
we ain't
can't
gonna
remember the
plug
guy's
him.
name. But they do this segment. It's called Second Date Update, where it's like if you went out on a date with someone.
Yeah.
And then like one of you like they stopped hitting it up, and you're like, oh, what happened? You could email the radio show, and then the radio show would call the person.
And we'll be
It's
starting
on,
that here. We'll
Hot
be
96. Is it?
I listened to the one out in Seattle.
There's a bunch of them.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
a segment a bunch of
Yeah,
people do, but this one was from like a Seattle station, I
Okay.
think. But essentially, the idea would be like, okay, you didn't hear back from them or whatever. You'd
Yeah.
email the radio station. They would call the chick and be like, hey, like what happened? She would give her. The guy would start giving his perspective. They'd call the chick, get her perspective, and figure out what really happened. And then they would sort of be like, okay, they would figure out like essentially the goal was like, why didn't you go on a second date? And then by the end of the call, it's like, would you go on a second date if we pay for it, kind of thing. That's like kind of the goal of it. So why don't you explain this one? Because this one was like complex as fuck
All right, so if I
and
remember,
psychotic. I literally was doing laundry and I was screaming. I was like, what? Like there was the shit I was listening to I could not believe.
so I sent him two earlier, and the second one I was like, yo, I promise you, because I'm at work right now. I'm listening to this in my ear, and like I'm dying. So like customers are looking at me and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And I'm walking around just having a blast. So I sent him the first two. I'm like, you're gonna love these. And the last one just pisses me off so much. I'm like, yo, I gotta send you one more, man. I need you like he loves to rage. So like I was like, yo, I need to send you
I'm a
this
very
one.
peaceful person.
And I send it to him, and the guy starts off. He's like, yo, I'm not sure what happened. We had a great night. You know, I'm not really sure. I can't remember what he said that he thought the problem might be, but he couldn't understand why she wasn't calling him back as much as these do. He couldn't see any.
He thought the one thing that might have happened. She had broke her heel on the way to the date.
No, that's the thing that did happen.
Right, no. But that's what happened. They had gone on the date. Everything was going well. She had broke her heel, like her shoe, when she was walking and stuff. They had stopped to at a shoe place. She bought another pair of shoes. They kept going on the date. The only thing he could think of, he was like, well, there was like 2 minutes maybe where at one point I noticed that my favorite football team was, or basketball, I can't remember, whatever, relevant.
Oh, you recounted that wrong. So there was one point where, so let's go back to where I was. So now that you recanted that, he thought that it was that he turned around for a few seconds to watch the game that was going on behind him.
And that's what I'm leading at.
So
Yeah.
he did not buy the shoe.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
said. They went and she bought the shoe.
No. Oh,
Yeah. She
you're right,
bought
yeah,
herself
yeah,
a new
yeah.
pair of shoes.
You're right.
They kept going on the date. At one point, he had like looked at the screen behind him for about like a minute or two because it was like his favorite team was on, whatever. He was like maybe a minute or two, honestly, guys. He's like, I wasn't watching that long, but he was like, that's the only thing I could possibly think of that was like the problem. And then they were like, okay, well, we'll call and try and figure it out because she just never heard back from him. So then they call her, and do you remember what happened?
Yeah, so she gets on the phone and she was like, honestly, it was a really good date. The one thing that I could say that he really did and fucked up was that
He was rude. She said he was very rude.
She said he was very rude, and he did stuff
And they were like,
that
what?
I
Yeah.
didn't think was manly of him. He wasn't being a man, you know. And she was being very vague. They're like, what did he do that wasn't manly? So she was like, so he told you that I broke my shoe, right? She says, they say, yeah. She's like, yeah, so as a man, and it happened on the date, so if it happens on the date, they're like, yeah, if it happens on the date, what? She's like, if it happens on the date, then, you know, and they're sitting there confused as hell, and she's like,
As I was too. I was like, what?
he's supposed to buy you, she's like, he's supposed to buy me my shoe. And they all
He's
flip
supposed
out.
to buy her the new pair of shoes.
She's like, it happened
It
on
happened
the
on the
date.
date.
If I wasn't on the date, this wouldn't have happened. So it's his fault. It happened on the date. So he should buy me a new
What,
pair of
they
shoes.
in a court case for this shit? Is this Judge Judy?
I mean, he wants to
Like,
know
what
what
are
happened.
they-
He has no idea what happened, why she won't call him back. So they just want to know. So
Probably
at this
'cause
point,
of the
everybody at the at the radio station is disgusted. They're like, "What the hell? She wants you to buy her
You know
a
what
pair
that
of
tells
shoes?"
me?
She's
Oh no, wait, hold on. It gets
Okay.
more disgusting.
Okay.
So
Ani, it gets worse.
So as she's explaining this,
Oh.
right? They're like pleading his case. They're like, it's not his duty to buy you a new pair of shoes because you broke it on a date. She's like, yes, it is. That's what a man would do in that situation. And so he chimes in. He's like, yo, guys, hold on. Let me hear what she's saying. So she starts to explain herself, and he was like,
Well, then she realizes he's on the call.
Oh
This
yeah.
one- Now she
so
realizes
now she knows he's on the
listening
call, and
too.
she was like, "Yeah, I expected you to be a man and buy me my shoe." He was like, "Well, you should have just said that. I would have bought you a shoe." The hell? Everybody at the radio station is fucking flabbergasted. They're like, "What do you mean you're gonna buy her this shoe?" He was like, she's beautiful, and if all I needed to do was spend a little money to go on another date with her, that's not a problem.
$220 shoes, by the way. Those were one of her quote cheap pairs,
How
as
much?
she put it.
How much dollars?
$220.
Oh.
And
fuck that shit.
The guy
It's like, of
happily
course we
paid
didn't
it
go on
and went on
fucking
another
date.
date with her.
Well, I hope that's the last pair of shoes she ever
And
expects from
what
you.
the
It gets worse. It
the
gets
biggest
worse.
twist to it. I didn't realize that this was the
He-
episode because I heard this a year before, but I didn't realize this was an update of that. So they
He
now checked
begged and
in on
pleaded
the.
with her. He was like, I'll buy you the new pair of shoes and I'll take you to dinner. Give me another chance and everything. And they even made a joke at the end of like, they're like, oh, well, you better hope that her handbag doesn't break. And she was like, well, if my handbag does break on the date, he better be able to replace it and stuff. And he's like, if it is, it's fine. He's like, it's fine. That's what credit cards are for. And I quote, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So then they
Yep,
do
that's
a second date update where they
Check in on the
like
couple.
a year went by essentially because they were dating for a year, and then they check back in with him, and like
So the dude calls back in. He's like, "Yeah, it's going great."
they're
Blah blah
both there.
blah.
Hi, yeah, it's going well.
So
How much are we getting paid for this plug right now?
Now, okay,
Yo.
now, and to be honest with you, at this point, this is where personally I start to feel like it, and when you hear how this progresses, it starts to feel a little bit phony, but it might be real. Let's just assume it's real.
So he's like, yeah, so it's going great. We've been dating for a year now, and I can see this going forward into the future and stuff like that. And so like he's talking all cheerfully about the relationship for a little bit, and then she chimes in. She's like, yeah, it's mostly great. This is not like a long. I don't see this being like a long.
She's like, well, I've never
thing.
been in a long-term thing, so I don't really know what that feels like. So I don't know if this is what it feels like. So like, I don't know. Like, and like,
And the guy's like, wait, hold on. So you haven't told this to me this entire time.
he's like, you're waiting to tell me this on the radio station?
Like maybe she thought it was obvious. I don't fucking
Yo,
know. She's a
like-
fucking boss.
But this is the thing, you know what?
No, she got him. Like it's because, but like
I don't feel bad for that guy at
don't,
all. He
we don't.
deserves every fucking bit of that.
every bit of it. Because
he knew what the honesty was up front. She told him.
She told him. She was
told
honest
him,
with
and
him.
he was willing for
I
it.
mean,
So it's like,
a fucking TV show went up to him. Of course he was gonna do it. Like, what the fuck? Right?
it's wild, right?
right.
It's wild.
Before.
I'll send you the clip if you want to listen. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Good.
Like,
No, I'm good.
it's fucking
I'm good.
ridiculous.
He's like,
It's like-
it sounds disgusting
I'm
enough
good.
in description.
Awful.
Before you said.
Don't worry, I took the trauma so you didn't have to.
Thank you.
That's how good of a friend I am. Listen to
Before
that horror.
you said that he was like, hold up, I'll pay for the shoes, like, and they were giving her shit and all that. I was gonna say, for her to complain about that, she has no friends, because obviously.
Or her friends are just like her.
Yeah.
Or she just wants an insta husband.
That, well, no,
No,
because
she don't- she don't.
if she had good friends with any kind of soul, they would have been like, you're being fucking ridiculous. Calm down.
Yeah.
And if you have shoes that cost that much, they should be of some quality and they should not be breaking.
Facts.
Just one pair.
It's also
I have so many shoes.
also just the
That's
the,
awesome.
I have so many fucking shoes.
But how many
They do not
expensive
break like
shoes
that.
would
Bro.
a man have to buy you for you to love him?
220.
None.
I don't know anything
I buy my
about
own
women's shoes.
I buy my own shoes.
No,
Yeah.
Ani's not that type of girl.
Exactly.
No, I don't know. One person that I've dated bought me one pair of shoes that I did not ask for. They were a surprise, and that was.
And you hated
Isn't
them.
it a great that one
They
happened?
have
that
lasted me a very
once in a
long
lifetime,
time. They
yeah.
have not broken. They are moccasins.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
Nice.
and
Those
I
are
still
durable.
wear
Those are pretty
them.
durable.
Thank you, Frank.
How many of my people died
Is he
secretly
dead?
with us?
Like, I'm
No.
sorry. Okay, could you like?
If he sees this episode, thank you. I still wear the
White girl
moccasins.
chic.
Whatever. That's the only pair of shoes that any man has ever bought me, and it's fine.
Wonderful.
I agree. It's fine.
One. I bought all my other shoes.
But, like,
I would
I
never
think-
ask.
But to expect that, it's just like
No,
the entitlement is just like it
No.
literally my
But
brain
So
just
stop.
entitled.
explodes.
But like, she is super entitled. But she's honest off the cuff.
But that's
True.
fair.
Off the
You can-
fucking
exactly.
cuff.
You know what?
There you
You know
go.
what?
That's true.
You
That's
know
true.
what? If
There you go. Or that's just what she wants.
if she
You don't have
wasn't
to
so
like it, but
materialistic,
she said, "Yo,
if she
this
wa-
is me."
if she
That's
if
just
she
like a
wasn't so
pussy thing.
materialistic,
Exactly.
she'd
No,
she'd
exactly. That's
I'd
why
marry that
Frivolous.
woman.
That's what my humps is about, my Fergie.
Yo, you see, she
My
gets it.
cookie.
She's like, that's
My
just like
lovely
the pussy
lady
thing. No,
lumps.
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it,
But
but you
not
do have to
really.
respect it. The
Mhm.
person
Because we
was
don't
honest.
naturally have the ability. That was
Yeah.
that weird thing from the beginning you said.
Which thing?
I don't know.
He says a lot of stuff at the beginning.
I heard that pancakes were involved.
Pancakes?
¿Por qué?
Pancakes?
Involved where? With what?
I
How?
don't say poke.
I don't know about pancakes.
I don't know.
I was trying to give
Flapjacks?
her a way out. I said that's why I said por qué. I was giving you a way out. You didn't take it. I'm kind of sad now.
Oh,
But yeah.
so I don't know. But hey, I wanted to ask a question.
Go ahead,
What's
please,
up?
by all means.
So Ani,
Yes.
Perfect person to direct to that.
What up?
She's been fair this whole time. That's perfect. Am I wrong?
What?
I don't know. She gave me looks. I feel like I'm wrong.
What?
Did I do something wrong?
okay, so Ani,
Yes.
tell me what it was like the first time you came on here.
Oh, we had a blast.
Yep.
What'd you
It's-
talk about?
We had my first episode is still the highest
Yes,
viewed
it is.
episode
Hands
on
down.
this podcast.
And what did we talk about?
So
All the same
many
shit.
things.
All the same shit.
Yeah.
Same shit I always say.
Same
Because
stuff.
you gotta beat
Yeah.
it into these guys' thick fucking skulls.
Yeah.
Because
But-
guys are fucking dumb.
Is
guys
that
are
your
fucking dumb.
demographic mostly? Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
the podcast is talking to men.
Yeah.
Yes. I go by I
And
go by
it's-
preach and live my life by the king
It,
queen system.
Yeah,
what
but it's
I
not
was
natural.
told the first time that
I
I was on
disagree.
this
I disagree.
podcast is that it's often talking to men who lack a lot of the principles that we have talked about at the beginning of this podcast.
Mhm.
Correct.
So,
These are like Joe Rogan rejects.
That's fair. I'll take that.
yeah.
See, I like to think.
Yeah.
Of, I like to think of my like. Okay, so like Louis J. Gomez likes to think of himself as like another like Joe Rogan. I like to, like a tier below Joe Rogan. I feel like I'm that next tier down.
Yeah, I agree.
That next tier down.
For now.
Thank you. I'm glad that my metaphor.
See, I told
got
you I'm
through to
humble.
you.
I'm humble.
Humble. You took it as high praise, goofball.
Yeah.
Why not?
I can take it. I can be humble and accept high praise.
The closest you get to humble is a humble brag.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag fucking blessed.
But the point also is that we're getting a lot of like different
Ani-
mindsets, you know,
yeah,
and
on the same exact thing.
being able to talk about those different opinions in a constructive way. And if it ends up that we have to yell a little bit, that's why we have a
Well,
mediator.
and that's the thing. That's the
Yep.
thing.
you know,
That's the thing.
We always try to make
None
it fair.
of this is malicious. I'm not.
No,
trying.
no,
I'm
no.
not trying to attack anyone. I'm not.
no.
We're all, like, I don't have any problem with anyone on
Mm-hmm.
this podcast at all. Like, we're all friends here. We all do comedy together and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
this because this is the thing, right? Anyone listening to this podcast, this is a and this is where I won't be humble. This is a fascinating podcast to listen to. This is one of the. I'll argue this is one of the best ones so far.
Yeah,
I'd
because I'm
agree.
fucking crazy. Hey,
I-
I said
I'll-
what
See,
everyone
we can beat
thinking.
250 views.
I'll reiterate. I think it's one of the best podcasts so far. Stop me when I'm wrong. Stop me when I'm wrong.
Watching someone humiliate themselves in front of hundreds of people must be fun.
I do it every day.
but it's
I don't think you're
not.
humiliating yourself. You're being honest. This is great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
I'll tell you what. If you
We have
think
the-
I'm being honest, you have no idea what's going
I
on.
think
no,
it
I'm
takes-
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm
you're
kidding.
honestly one of our
What
more,
I mean is
most
I'm-
honest.
We
I'm
have the two
actually
most
holding
honest
back
women.
a lot of shit that I have to say about this situation, but I choose not to because it's fucking radical. And I'm a little bit of a radical, so because of that, I keep myself to myself a little bit. I never hurt anyone, and radicalism has nothing to do with violence. To me, it's about withholding violence, as in we are not going to be violent. You know, we're not going to do that. And so when you take violence
I
out of
like
a
that.
situation, you have to change the rules. So because of that, there's a big part of it that's just missing.
I think, and I understand what you're saying, but I think it also takes like just as much, if not more, courage to stand up in front of a live audience and do stand up and be vulnerable and be honest and curate a joke that makes somewhat sense.
Yep.
And then potentially bomb.
Yeah.
Then to come on a podcast, thank you, and then have a constructive conversation with your friends that will, come to a conclusion.
And this is no bullshit. I think we have right now the two most honest women we've ever had on this podcast so far. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your
Monica,
house.
and she was actually pretty honest there toward the end. She held
See,
back
towards
a
the
lot.
end. Yes, towards
She
the
held
end.
back a lot, and she's very kind.
Yeah,
She's
no,
a nice
and I love
woman.
Monica too. That was a great episode too. I
Yeah,
enjoyed doing
no,
that
but
one.
we actually we don't want anybody being kind on this show. Like, come
Yeah.
out with your views, and
and-
we appreciate you
No,
doing
it's
that.
not that she wasn't like.
No,
no.
like-
She said what I mean by
I'm not
that is she
speaking
had
that
a lot
about
of
her.
self-restraint. I was amazed at the level of self-restraint she had.
But that's the thing. That's it's self-restraint and
It's just like if
it's
somebody
very
disrespects you, then
but that's very that's a very respectable quality is having that self-restraint. But at the same time, it's also like you're not being completely honest. And it was like once Monica towards the end of that conversation, when it started getting like a little heated, we started getting the honest part of Monica, and then we really started having like an honest conversation.
she
and we were
got
starting
angry.
to get
Why
somewhere.
did she have to get?
Also, that's not what this conversation is. This podcast, this whole series is like about. It's like about being able to have not holding back and like having those honest conversations about the
Those
several
uncomfortable
topics.
ones.
And like, I mean, there's every single episode is different in a way, or like the different topics that end up coming up.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, we've had a
Sorry.
variety of different guests too that have been
Definitely.
able to,
Anyway, so
to
yeah,
talk about all
so
that.
I want to talk about something else real quick. Sure. Elephant in the room. I have a couple mental illnesses, and I want to address that because I think it's pretty fucking obvious in a lot of ways. But I also think that it's something that's stigmatized beyond what it should be because I'm actually a pretty talented person. And
Yeah.
because I act weird and like present weird, I'm awkward. It's like imagine if you woke up and you had this body, but you thought, and I'm not saying I think I have your body, but just think about how weird. Come on, just for a
Oh, it would be
second, you're
different.
like,
I-
but I love my body, but I'm saying it's weird. It's just, and it's all fucking weird. And you grow up weird. Everyone goes through a lot of heavy, dark shit, and there's people.
Oh, sorry, I
like-
fucked up the word.
There's people who go through like way we'd say worse, than any of us or whatever you want to do. But I think
No,
that,
definitely.
it's just I don't know. I got totally distracted.
I mean, I can say the same thing. Like, I have several different diagnoses. I think that a lot of the times that there's like a misconception about just how people act or carry themselves. We don't always think that, someone who carries themselves as like quiet or bossy or confident or whatever's or put together or however they dress, like that person can't be all of this like list of things or have to take however many meds in the morning to like be a functional human being. But like, I understand where you're coming from.
And
You
from my
know?
place, like I also understand where you're coming from. We're all coping with something. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
all dealing with something.
We all have trauma.
And like me, I don't like labels and stuff like that, but I understand how people they're useful to people and stuff like that. I see the mental illness thing as that as well, because when it comes to that, like everybody goes through their bits and fights of mental illness at any given time. Everybody goes through
Sure.
depression. Everybody goes through those stuff, but it's how you find a method of finding getting out of it. And I don't think that is so focused on so focused on is being stuck or staying within that realm. All of us are very complex creatures that at any given time can go either way or do anything. And I always try to leave way for that when I speak. And that's why I don't judge people based on like who they are or what they want to be, but you're just the sum of what you do. You know what I mean? And I think that's the most honest way to judge a person. So, I mean, if
What
you
is
tell
that?
me, huh?
What is that? Yeah, sorry.
No, judging a person by what they do, because that honestly, no matter what they say, what they do is always going to shine brighter.
What did they do?
I mean, however you act. You know what I'm saying? If you show yourself to be an honest person, I'm going to take you at face value. Does that have a gender that comes with it for me? No. protecting somebody, I'm gonna take that at face value. Does that have a gender that accompanies with me? No. Mothers do it.
like-
Fathers do it. Yeah. There's no gender to that.
I'm
You know what I
so-
mean? So like, within our complexities, we're also because we're each one of us is complex. We're also normal, and we have to solidify ourselves in that fact that we're not as weird as we think we are.
Also,
or we're
the
not
way that your brain is wired is not how you're defined.
Yes, and it shouldn't be.
And like this actually like made me feel so good. Like when I think it was a couple weeks ago, I was at Thunder Bar and I had signed up and I was like super down the line, but I had to leave to go to therapy. And I think I was like telling him, fuck, like I'm gonna miss my spot, but I have to go to therapy, so I'm gonna have to like figure out like how I'm gonna do this. But you're like, dude, it's fine. Like you gotta do what you gotta do and like go take care of yourself. And I was like, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
And you
need
came
to
back
go-
and did a set still.
Yeah, honestly,
That was a good set.
That's the best set that I've done in a
It was
while.
a great set.
And I felt so much better. And then the following, like, however many sets, like,
Yeah.
that I did in the next week or two went so
Mhm.
much better because I
Yeah.
hadn't gone to therapy in a while.
Well, and
like,
you
I
came
really
you
needed
came
to
out
do
and you like
that.
addressed it right away, and you like kind of made a joke about it, and you just had
Yeah.
like a good
Yeah.
energy about it, and then it boom,
Yeah.
you just like went through your set, and
I
it did great.
straight up parked, ran in, and like I was up like the next
Yeah.
like two
Like
per
a
people
lot
or
of people
something.
miss the reason. Like
You,
if
oh yeah,
I-
because we went the same night. We both.
Yeah,
it was like
you
we were the
ran
last
out-
three.
like,
Yeah.
like the reason I feel like the reason I'm here on this earth is just to make people feel good. You know what I'm saying? And I try to do that in
Yeah.
every way. Like my biggest things, like the reason I felt I continuously fall in love with comedy over and over again because like it's the same reason I fall in love with sex. It's because it's one way that I personally can make someone else feel good.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
And like that
Yup.
that's what really I revel in both those things. And
Preach.
I mean, just being able to sit down with you guys and share ideas is huge for me, man.
Isn't that crazy? Because like we're
Yeah.
not fucking and we're women and we're hanging out.
No, and that's to show you. That's to show you because I feel like a lot was put on him for wanting to fuck on an offset. He's here having the discussion equally as I am. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're all sitting here having a discussion. We're not fucking, so that means there has to be some level of respect between us, no matter what. It's not just sexual. It's not just
that we're
dicks
allowed
and
to be here in
vaginas.
the first place.
Yeah.
It's an
Well, like,
honor.
You know what I'm saying? Like that means that he's not whatever way that maybe the text may have made him look. He's definitely showing the.
sarcastic.
That's why I get really annoyed when
It's-
people like
No, I mean you're in someone else's personal space. Even though you're being sarcastic, it's honest. It's honest. You're in his personal space. For him to even to allow me, no matter how long we've known each other, for him to allow me into this space, it's an honor every time.
But honor and honesty are different things. They're not.
There
the
is
same
honor
fucking
and
thing.
honesty every time.
No, those words don't mean the same thing.
they're
There
not the
is
same,
honor
but one
in
is
honesty.
there's honor in honesty,
Every
but they're
time.
not the same thing.
There's not always. I mean, it depends on what you.
One can
It's more
construct
complex
another.
than that.
One can construct another. That's part of its complexity.
See, there's a part of that that's missing that I would like to
By all
delve
means.
into at some point. But what time is it? It's almost 8:00. I'm gonna have to get going.
This might be another 2-hour episode.
No,
no, no,
'cause
we started late.
I ran it for a good like 15 minutes before of just like the before that I'll chop out. But why don't we do clips real quick and then we'll wrap up?
Sounds
Does
good.
that sound good?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, let's go. Why don't you hit the King's Roundtable? Right? I think that's the right one. I can never remember. Go to the well dam. That last one. Yeah, that one right there. Yeah, sorry. You got it on split view already? Who's better than you, sweetie? Thank you. See, I'll call everyone. Dom, sweetheart. Yeah, that's all for you, Dom.
There we go, patty cake.
All right, so this is the first one Karizmatik submitted. What's you want to break this one down or
No, let's just
just
run
let
right
it play?
into
We'll
it. Yeah.
see what happens. All right, I haven't seen this, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's gonna be enjoyable.
13. Your brother died in 2014.
Okay, so for a year and a half, you were with another man, correct?
Correct. Not for a full year and a half because there
Basically,
was months and months
you
in between there I didn't
But you
do
did.
anything.
But you did fuck him, correct?
Correct, but not.
Did
There's
you fuck him?
You asked me that question
How many
already.
times?
What do you mean how
How
many
many times altogether?
30, 40.
Oh shit!
Okay,
Is
and
that relevant?
But it wasn't in
okay,
2014.
hold on, and then after follow that, how many
Yes.
times?
Wait. Yeah, like
6, 7.
that's the thing. A
Yes.
guy should never let him get to a place where he's going, why? How many times did you have? Bro, it's over at that point. Just take the L and go home. Don't
Don't
fucking.
you want to know why though? No.
I mean-
I
No, it
wonder
doesn't matter.
sometimes
The
what
reason
you ask.
does
The reason
not
doesn't
matter.
matter.
Hey, Ani, would you ask why? Exactly. Why do people ask why? I'm
It's
like,
crazy,
that's a
right? Like,
question
it's just
you don't
like
wanna have
it
to
happened. It's like,
answer.
okay. So wait, I don't understand. So was he away and she, I
Yo,
missed
so
the
back out real quick.
Yeah, go to small screen that for me. Well, damn, cheating wife admits that she slept with another man more than 40 times. But like, under what context was he? Like, how did?
It sounds like she was having an affair. They said it was going on for a little while.
Oh, so it's not like a thing like he was gone. They were just like, okay. Sorry, for some reason
No, at the beginning, she said something about like
Run that back
somebody
at the beginning.
Somebody died. Like at the
Your
very
bro-
beginning.
So for a year and a half, you're with another man,
See,
correct?
for a year and a half.
Correct.
with another
Not
man.
for a full year and a
Wait, go
half.
all the way
because
to the
there was
beginning. All the
months
way.
and months
Year
in
and a half.
between there. I didn't
But you
do
did.
anything.
But you did fuck.
Your brother died in 2014.
Okay, so for a year and a half, you're with another man, correct?
Correct. Not for a full year and a half because there was
Basically-
months
wait,
and
pause
months
it,
in
pause it. You
between
know
there.
what- I
I
know what's happening.
didn't.
But you.
This happened in the past. That's why she was given the timeline of when the brother died. She was like, like around when your brother died. Like it was that was 2013 or so. So this happened such and such. It must have gone on for about a year or so. He must just now be finding out about it years later, which is like, well, buddy, like at this
Or maybe
point,
he's interviewing. Maybe he's interviewing
I mean,
her or something.
it's like I could
You're
get
recording.
taking the L and walking away for sure. At the same time, it's like, well, it's like everything cool now. Like I mean, if everything's going well, like I mean,
Well, I don't know. Like at this point, I'll be so
Maybe
fucked
she,
up
like, wanted a
emotionally.
divorce or something.
I feel like I'll be so fucked up emotionally. I'd have to like shake her hand, cause like you got me. You got me for a long ass time. You got me for a long time.
oh,
You
wait,
want, no.
Oh my bad.
She didn't want to pass to me.
My, I thought I was going this way.
no,
Sorry,
it's
I-
cool. I made the same mistake
I was
earlier
just
too.
like,
Hi, bastards.
I'm
bad.
tapping out.
That's
her.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I agree with
guys,
you,
yeah,
like-
you gotta just at that
Don't
point.
ask how many
yeah,
times.
you just
Cool.
you know what you know what you do honestly, and this is what you do. This is where you rise above. You thank them for doing it because what it allows you to do is to give your time to someone else that actually values your time. They're giving you your time back.
Also, at
They're
that
giving
point,
you back the most valuable thing to you. You can't be mad.
Also,
at
at
them.
that point, I
You
think
can
the
be
first
upset.
question.
Can't be mad at people for cheating.
No,
on
no.
you.
You can be upset and hurt by it for sure,
lying, yeah.
because it's lying and it's a fucked up thing to do. But at the same time, the redeeming factor
the
is that you go cool. Now I can take that time that I was wasting on you, waste it no more, and find someone that will give a shit about my time and not fuck
Yeah.
around and not lie to me. So I'm saying like that's where you rise above them. You don't even get upset when they do that. You go, you know what? Thank you, so I can give my time to someone else, and then you leave.
Yep.
Boom.
I would say
And that's how you
either
do
of
it.
your options would be fucking funny and honest at that point. Either like, well, is everything good? And then you're like, all right, cool, you got me for
'Cause-
damn long enough. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do now?
If we're in an honest situation and you get to a point where you want to fuck other people, then that's a discussion that has to be had before you just decide for both of us and either party or decides for both parties that like, oh, this is a thing we have to deal with now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
polyamory is a serious issue because a lot of people are afraid to be poly, and it can really people fall in love and one of them wants to be poly and the other doesn't. It's a really painful experience. My best friend is married to a monogamous man and she's polyamorous, and it's really difficult for them.
Definitely.
And
is it
I
difficult
don't
for the
think
man,
she-
you mean, or just for both parties, just like keeping the balance between
She's
all
the
parties?
polyamorous one.
Yeah, so it's difficult 'cause she
for
can't
her,
have
but it's
one
also
and-
difficult for him.
Yeah, because she
It's
wants
difficult
one.
for both of them, and they're loving. And I think that it's that stapling people together at the balls. That's why I don't know why anyone would want to get gay married. I'm just kidding. I'm a gay
Yo,
boy, so I can
on
say
that note,
whatever I
on that note, let's run that
All right.
second.
Yeah,
clip.
let's run the second one, then we'll wrap it up. Let's see, what's this one? Savage woman destroys her boyfriend's car for cheating on her. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
relevant.
We
did.
watched this on mine.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't know. But you know what? It's a throwback. It's a throwback for Ani. No, you're thinking of a different one, I think.
What drug is that gonna
I mean, we probably showed you a similar one. Which shocked me.
Is that Quaaludes?
Wow.
You can make them girls crazy by doing some stupid shit.
Yeah.
You can. You can. They both take fault. in
They're
that.
like, ooh, I almost got crushed by your car. This is hot. You send a chill through
All right,
my
you go back to
spine.
both cameras.
I mean, I don't know. Like, she's definitely at fault for fucking up his car, but he fucked up.
Yeah,
something.
and that's the problem, right? I go like, I see that clip and I go,
I've never fucked up a car.
I go, what did he?
What
do?
have you fucked
but
up?
you know what I mean? It's like, I'm
What,
like,
no. What have
I'm
you
like,
fucked up?
And even if it was small, even if he didn't buy her shoes because they broke on the date, I still want to know, like, is that what it was? Like, you know what I mean? Because it could be that, or maybe he was just a real scumbag and a piece of shit. Now, I still don't know that warrants having his car crashed into.
I mean, why get sued?
Yeah, like because then you're just welcoming more strife. Like, I get the emotion to want to do that for sure. For sure, I get the emotion to want to fucking just like fuck their shit up. But you just can't do that.
Can't do it. You can't do it. Can't do it. And yo, you want to hit me with that outro, bro?
Oh yeah, let's do it, baby. Let's wrap it up. Kingz Plugs, baby.
And we want to thank you again for joining us for another installation of the Kingz Podcast. I have been your boy, Karizmatik
Irish O'Neil.
I'm Kit Elizabeth Lowe Ryan, RION.
Get them names, yo.
Oh yeah. Thanks for watching, Kingz. Peace.
Illuminati's just a state of mind. They corrupted its symbolism to make you blind. They don't want you motivated to take the top. They want you down here as a hopeless slave to the day you die. It's time for your cheat check, nigga. Welcome to the gangbang dungeon. Shit ain't safe. If your chain hang, the jailers gon' snatch it. Even the warden stays straight thuggin'. White boys bloodin'. Black CIA agents corrupted. Flying cocaine planes hustling. Banks stay smuggling funds from the public for the turf war against Arabs with AKs bustin'. Oil fields flooded. Block boys searching for ways out. Rapping the kid day name buzzing. Confederate flag rhetoric terrorizes minds of an awkward white young and KKK loves it. Shit is disgusting. Are you sure this the place you won't be locked up in? When your heart's pumping fast from combat with the roughest, you sure you can keep your brain from crumbling? Keep instruction. Killers is cold, man. You probably got a bitch for soul. You fuck nigga. You way too humane for this place. Even the Vatican got a bank full of francs for his ways. The Pope's just another G hogging his block. So would you put your money to? Let me come to your spot. Let me see what's all up in your socks. Asshole, let me tap your pockets. How much money you got? Man, you can't even afford the price of fame. Niggas your type insane. So unfocused, easily controlled, bitch. Your own brain's thought patterns aren't even yours. The crazy part is you don't even notice. The beast ferocious, my niggas. The first time my third eye awoken, reality opened. I saw so much knowledge unspoken, unseen, unheard, and unwritten. Unwritten in this plane of existence. I was compelled to stay and just listen, but I couldn't get it. I said fuck it, then travel to these gangbang dungeons. I came to investigate hard. Who made this? Who made the prison bars? And who really runs the place? And who brained the bunk beds? Fuck boys like you be getting raped. Until you tame, chained, and enslaved, facing the fact that if you don't escape, you're gonna go out like Kurt Cobain. With your conscience on the pavement, this world ain't safe. The beast has no patience, like doctors with a cure for AIDS. Don't let it trick you to an early grave. If of it you're afraid, then you're the blame. Illumination. Illuminati's just a state of mind. They corrupted its symbolism to make you blind. They don't want you motivated to take the top. They want you down